Hey, what's up triathletes? Taren here. After you've got settled into cycling and triathlon, you've built up some good bike strength, there is absolutely no better way to step up your bike training and get faster than by using power. This is the Powertap P1 Pedal, which I've been fortunate enough to try for the last couple months. Stick around. I'm going to tell you how I feel about using this pedal. I'll give you a hint, it's really good. So I'm always very hesitant to start adding gadgets that, quite frankly, I feel often clutter up your training and confuse the situation. So if you're looking for a very technical review on the Powertap P1 pedals with lots of data and specs, you're not in the right place. For that, go check out DC Rainmaker's page. I tend to focus on things more for versatility, effectiveness, ease of use. And that is why I went with the Powertap P1 pedals. If you look at DC Rainmaker's review, he reviews these as one of the most versatile, easy to set up power meters available. This is what he actually takes out when he's traveling. And honestly, that's exactly what I found. These pedals are just about as easy to set up as your standard $40 or $50 SPD Shimano pedals, like Dum Simple. Now for starters, I want to talk about the design. I look at this kind of like the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. Like, it's trying to be really sleek and slick, but it doesn't quite get there. It is fairly clunky. That's coming from Powertap, however, because they are very heavy on the engineering and the science as opposed to the design. And with something like a power pedal, which is in its infancy in the industry, I would rather have something that is engineered to work right than look right. I will mention that because they are so large, I have heard of people taking corners and scraping them on the ground. I never had that in any road group riding that I did where we do take corners pretty aggressively, but I've heard of it happening more in crit races and in ITU style races, not ITU style, actually ITU races, where people are taking corners at as fast a pace as hard as they can. In addition to that, there's a lot going on. At 218 grams per pedal, that's adding a fair bit of weight, a full pound between the two pedals, and that is one of the heavier power pedals out there. I think it's the heaviest. And then one thing that I never found, but my bike guy mentioned to me, is that people had brought their bikes into the shop with the Powertap P1 pedals, Powertap P1 pedals, and the axle had loosened off. I never found that. I tightened it easily with an Allen wrench. Not a big deal for me. Now, using them, that's where these get awesome. Getting them charged up, you drop the battery into the slot, you screw them on, just with an Allen key, boom, done. I paired this with my Garmin in literally 20 minutes from start to finish to calibrate it. There was no finickiness, there was no trouble pairing it, there hasn't been any trouble pairing it in any of the rides that I've done. You take a few pedal strokes and instantly the green light goes on and boom, you're ready to go. When I powered it on my Garmin 520, the first options that I had were measuring left versus right power. Apparently my left is a lot stronger, but I just want average power, so I went with the 3-second average power. But if you do want to get that information on your pedal efficiency, on the power between your left and your right, and all kinds of fancy metrics that you can use to help your pedaling style, this is measuring it in the background regardless of what screen you put on your Garmin or whatever device you're reading the information on your ride. And it worked flawlessly. First time, every time. As far as battery life goes, I've got about 23 hours of riding in on this, over 700 kilometers. I haven't had a single battery issue. These are rated up to 60 hours of battery life on one AAA battery. And then when you do have to replace it, it's so easy just to pop out this hex nut, I think. Pop that out, drop a AAA in, done. One of the things that I think you should know about the P1 pedals is that I wasn't a big fan of the clip-in feeling. Getting that little sweet spot of feeling when it's okay for your foot to clip in was a little bit tough. It felt kind of mushy. Now you can adjust the tension between the clip and the pedal with a screw, but I just found it not quite as, say, foolproof as an SPD pedal or as, what would be a word for this? Or as forgiving as a speed play pedal. This was kind of finicky to clip in. And as far as the clips that you can use, SPD pedals, no. Look, Kios are apparently okay, but they leave a fair bit of float and things are really loose, so I wouldn't recommend them for sprinting. But Powertap does give you proprietary clips that you can put on your shoes that mesh with the pedal, and I found them okay. There's about 6 degrees of float in the pedal. I found a lot more float towing in than toeing out. Another thing that was a quirk is that the Garmin often said that the right power sensor was missing. Very strange, because every single time that I went and uploaded my data, the right power sensor was there the entire time. There were no blips in the data. Another thing that I noticed is that the power reading ended up being about 5 to 10% higher, made me feel like a real stud, when it got colder outside. So around 0 to 6 degrees Celsius, I noticed that the power numbers were a fair bit higher. So I would recommend that when it starts getting colder, zero it out to recalibrate. So I told you that this was gonna be a basic review, and for something that is historically a very technically fussy thing to set up, I was really impressed with the P1 pedals because they were so easy and foolproof to use day to day. Kind of like when the iPhone came out and they took something that was very, very technical and made it very elegant. Might not look super elegant. So if you're thinking about getting a power meter, I would really highly recommend these because they are so easy to use and they are very accurate for what you're trying to do, measuring power. It's within just a % or two. If you did want to pick up the pedals, I'll put an affiliate link in the description below, and that would really help support the channel. If you purchase through that link, Amazon will send us a little bit of loose commission change, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. So that would be super fantastic of you. I believe they're on Amazon right now for around $1,200. It's a pretty good deal considering they were $1,600 when they first came out. If you do end up picking them up, you are going to get a fantastic pedal. They're reliable, they're versatile across all bikes, they're easy to set up, and they might not look great, but at a time where power pedals are in their infancy, I would rather take a pedal that works great than looks great anytime. So there you have it, triathletes. As always, thank you for watching, happy and hard training, and good luck in your next triathlon. So nice. I've grown to like them. I have.